Let me take a slight pause. Let me back up. So I was supposed to meet Rich at the camera box to retrieve some property, and as I'm driving there, um, I I see Rich and I see one of the board members there. Now, inside my mind, I'm thinking, why is this board member there when I'm just coming there to meet Rich and to retrieve my property that's supposed to be in the box. There's property, uh, telephone, radios, and some other little knickknacks. So as I'm pulling up, or I'm driving and I come to the intersection, then I see all of this. Well, I'm a surveillance guy, and actually I was en route after I picked up the stuff, which I never did because the other contractor was supposed to come and to bring my stuff. He had it, but I drive up, and then prior to I hit my recording devices that I have on my truck. Anybody who knows me knows that I do a lot of surveillance support as well as security surveys. So I have some covert cameras that I mount prior on it all the way around the vehicle. I may even attach a YouTube link to this particular video in the description. So before I move on, I want to bring up California recording laws. Okay, and you have to understand when you can record people when it's deemed private or in a public area, or where a place that two people expect a reasonable amount of privacy. California pretty much was a two-party consent state, but the laws have changed, and so it's actually a one-party consent depending on the circumstances. If you don't know the law, then you'll wind up getting yourself in trouble. Me, I know the law. So real quick, I'm gonna go through this recording law just so that things are understood.
California Recording Law Summary. California's principal recording law, Cal. Penal Code 632, stipulates that it is a two-party consent state. In California, it is a criminal offense to use any device to record communications, whether they are wire, oral, or electronic, without the consent of everyone taking part in the communication. This means that in California you are not legally allowed to record a conversation you are taking part in unless all parties are in agreement. However, there are a few exceptions, such as public conversations with no expectation of privacy, within government proceedings that are open to the public, recording certain crimes. California also has a wiretapping law, Cal. Penal Code 632, which can result in criminal prosecution for the unauthorized recording of a phone line or other media. Unique components. Due to California's heavy involvement with the entertainment industry, the state also has some unique laws pertaining to celebrities and paparazzi. These laws forbid trespassing for the purpose of taking photos or making audio recordings of people participating in personal or familial activity. Cal. Civil Code 1708.8. California has some laws specifically related to paparazzi. The state's vehicle code prohibits anyone from following other drivers at close distances or behaving recklessly while driving with the intent to take photos, video, or record audio of another person for profit. Cal. Ver. Code 40008. Our recommended digital voice recorder. Examples of illegal recording of confidential communication in California. Some common situations where it would be considered eavesdropping to use a recording device. Recording your boss in a meeting without their consent. Intentionally recording your neighbor's private conversations while in an apartment building. Using a recording device to intentionally eavesdrop on a private conversation in an intimate restaurant. Recording public officials at an administrative proceeding open to the public or a public gathering while on official duties. Recording telephone conversations without informing the other party unless you are recording being harassed. When is recording a conversation a crime in California? California Penal Code 632 dictates that all four of these circumstances must be met in order to charge someone under California law. Intent. California law aims to prevent private conversations from being secretly recorded. It is not illegal to record something in a public space and accidentally record a private conversation. Electronic device. An electronic recording device must be used in order to be charged under Penal Code 632. These include microphones, telephones, laptops, and personal computers. Privacy. It must be a confidential conversation where there is a reasonable expectation of privacy. This allows for some wiggle room in the law, as there is a large difference between an intimate restaurant and a public bench in terms of illegal recordings. Consent. On private property or in private settings, you may legally record if you gain the prior consent of all parties. California Penal Code 631 relates to wiretapping and makes it illegal to use any method, physical or digital, to make unauthorized access to someone's conversation. This most often relates to phone lines and telephone calls, but can also relate to any other digital method of communication such as VoIP. Recording personal conversations in California. California state law is intended to punish the recording of conversations where all contributing parties have not given consent, but does not forbid such recordings in instances where the communication happened in a public place, during government proceedings, or in a situation where one could be easily overheard by others. You may not record conversations without the consent of everyone taking part. California recording law exceptions. California Penal Code 632 does not apply in a few specific areas. Law enforcement personnel are allowed to legally record conversations that they are not a party to. Police officers may then legally use this evidence for criminal prosecutions. Private citizens are also allowed to utilize these exceptions in a much more limited capacity. In order to use this exception, two circumstances must be met. The person recording must be a part of the conversation. This essentially changes California law from an all-party consent state into a single-party consent state. They must be recording conversations in order to gather evidence that the other party committed one of the following: crime, extortion, kidnapping, bribery, harassing phone calls, or any felony involving violence against another person. This allows you to record conversations in most instances where you feel threatened.
So, with that said, let's see here. So let me pop this back to the property. Okay, so guess I'll go ahead and leave these headsets on. So I hit the record button because we are on a public street, public sidewalk, even though we are within the ranch area. The city public area begins from the street across the sidewalk into the private property. And so one would probably say, why is he saying all of this? I just want to make sure that things are clear, because when people start talking about defamation of character and I'll sue you and all that stuff, just make sure you understand the laws. I know I'm deep. I used to teach that part for some surveillance classes that I did. So anyway, so I wind up pulling up cameras, audio, rolling. Okay. Now, I will tell you that right off the top, when I saw the other board member there, and I'm thinking to myself, why is he here? I said that before. There was no purpose for him to be there for me while I'm picking up the property. Prior law enforcement, you can always tell a person's stature, how they stand, how they kind of moving around, their gait, as they basically say, as they kind of walk a little bit. So it gave me the impression that I don't want to say he was there for a confrontational situation, but it was a, let me see. I think it was a, my impression in looking at them and being there was that they wanted to engage me in the conversation probably about this whole dispute thing. So I went into my old cop mode, and and a lot of people who may see this, some old coworkers or something. I'm sending this out to a lot of people that they will understand good cop, bad cop. So as opposed to rolling into a situation and hi, how you doing? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, just we're going through this. No, 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 no. Right off the top, I made sure to get the true feeling come out quickly and don't beat around the bush. So we were talking about stuff, and then was talking about the property, and then um, I guess I have to go back and probably look at the video again. But we wound up getting on starting to get about the stuff and what's mine, and started engaging, and then so I became more of the I'll just say this, the asshole, just to get them going uh their true self, which worked. Okay. So if they deny, and I'm just going to summarize what was said, that's important, not how we basically got there, but what this board member said. And if they deny it, then I'll show the video. I'm not trying to put that board member on blast with video. Me personally, I would just rather for them to say that, well, yeah, I did say that. And yeah, he pissed me off based on his attitude. But that's what I was trying to do. I didn't curse him out, wasn't yelling at him. I think my sarcastic, I want to say, when I'm talking, and so I'll just say this. I know I was pissing him off, and that was my intent. So, and I got the end result that I was looking for. So the thing that came out of that was that I wasn't getting any of this property because he said that it was all the ranch's property. And I said, you don't even know what you have. Okay. Um, then he said that I wasn't getting paid, my 1,700. Rich agreed at the time, but Rich is the property manager, and I'm going to try to shield him as much as possible and separate him. And if I have to produce the video, or forced to produce the video that what was said, well, the fact that I'm a video guy, I'm gonna say right up the top, I'm blanking Rich all the way out in everything he said. Okay. But I will say that he did concur with the board member, and at that time, based on, well, he didn't have the contract in front of him. So if you don't have the right paperwork in front of you, and based on, just kind of going off the cuff, then you're going to go with it. But I believe they all have since reviewed the contract, as I have demonstrated that I had into the property was the termination date was effective February 1st, based on the new contractor starting February 1st, 2021, 2022. And but as everything has showed in one of the video clips that the contractor started on the 15th. And so there shouldn't be any discrepancy as to that. But like I said, things that was said is such that he didn't care that I used to be a police officer. I'm not getting paid. I advise that if I'm not getting any of that equipment, that I indicated that was my property. I wasn't going to get any additional payment based on the extra invoicing that I was doing, and clearly spelled out as to why I was charging additional money. He didn't care about going to small claims court, and a couple of other things. So I just want this portion here, and if he sees this, please do not force me to show that video. Yeah, I know that how I was talking, that I'll look like an asshole, but you will also look like an asshole, and then it was trying to exhort your authority. And then, as well as I said, I was going to put this video out and show what has happened to the ranch community at large. Because I'm going to make sure that that no lies are told about me or as to what happened. So so just own up to what you said, and that will not have to come out. So after that, pretty much left. Later on, I got some of my items back. The new contractor had taken them, and I guess had all my stuff in his possession, as well as I have not seen what happened to the original security camera. It's a Dell server that runs the camera network, and it also has a 7 terabyte storage unit that has all the video data, as well as the information, because that was the main hub as to the computer systems and everything, and the licenses and whatnot for the software. And so the new contractor has that particular server, which is the main server. And I will also say that that is the property of the Ranch Homeowners Association at large. So every homeowner that pays their monthly dues, they own a piece of that computer camera server, and that new contractor should not have that in his possession. So and kind of went on this section, kind of ran on, dragging, because I'm trying to make sure that I don't say the wrong thing or anything inaccurate. As well as this board member, that he was speaking, that we own the property. Well, I own that property too, because I've already established that I'm a homeowner. And and as for being accused of holding the camera systems hostage, no. I was in the process, as I had mentioned, that I was putting everything together, as well as I would have been uninstalling my support stuff and reconfigured the camera system without my support equipment interlink with it. The ranch only has five. I mean, I'm sorry. They only have three wireless devices right there at the Mountain Meadow and Link Road, and then the far back Dawson Creek has one. I had no support stuff there, and as well as I have support software on all the computer servers that I need to uninstall under my user because there's no one that can get into the computers. And that is not my fault because I would have put in a default user with full authority rights had I had the opportunity by the end of the month because it's a long process. I got to go into every camera device, take out my password, put in the default app password, which would be user admin and the password admin for the next guy to go in and do what he basically do. It should have been a user backup put in a long time ago, which I was trying to do a long time ago. I had also had recommended a community uh, 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 security group of I'm sorry, a security committee that where it would have been a bunch of neighbors from the community, the HOA, collectively, and I would have trained everybody. I would have trained everybody on how to use the system, how to remote access, and then we could have had designated people as the backup admin. I did not or never have wanted to be the single person on everything there. I got other stuff that I have to do. My job was just to maintain the cameras and keep them up, not be the administrator, not being called on about to get in video. I didn't have a problem. The neighbors knew that if they needed video for the police, if it was there, they come by my house, um, ask, if I could look. Folks who had my number, they call, text, and so I'm pretty sure if any neighbors see this, they will probably be making comments in this video because I'm putting everything on YouTube in a playlist, and so everyone could see it. So it's like 23 minutes on this one. So I'm gonna stop this area and then continue with the other sections.